Okay, as everybody trickles in, hello, I am Nicole from Oblong Books, and I am delighted to host our Summer Reads romance panel today. For those of you who signed up, you probably know that this is not going to be a normal event anymore where we sit and kind of just talk about books. I've gone a little haywire and have created a romance tropes bracket. So me and these wonderful authors, mostly the wonderful authors, are now going to kind of debate and argue over what our favorite romance tropes are and see if we can't come to some sort of consensus about what we love best. Before I have all of our authors introduce themselves, as a reminder, we are an independent bookstore. These are authors. You should buy their books. They make great gifts. You can do that by heading to oblongbooks.com.
Also great weapons.
Also great weapons. You can do that by heading to oblongbooks.com after the event and finding all of their books and buying them, and we will ship them to you, or you can pick them up at the store if you are local. It's really easy. We make it very simple for you. Now
also
let's rock and
paperweights.
Roll.
Also good paperweights.
Also good paperweights.
Sorry,
let's rock and roll into the event. Authors, it is time for you to introduce yourselves. Quanah, would you like to go first?
Me first. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I am Quana Jackson, otherwise known as KM Jackson. I'm the author of Not Again and Real Men Knit, holding them both up because this is book one, book two in the series about four brothers who run a knitting shop in Harlem. So I hope you'll check it out.
They're adorable. Ashley, you're up.
I am Ashley Poston, and I am the author of The Dead Romantics. Yay! It is the story of a ghostwriter for a very famous romance novelist who has to return to her family's funeral home to bury her late father, only to find herself haunted by the ghost of her very hot and very recently deceased editor. It is a spooktacular good time.
Spectacular.
You would be gravely remiss if you did not read this.
You put your puns away, Poston.
No.
And Amanda, it's your turn.
I am Amanda Elliot. I am the author of SADIE on a Plate. It is a story about a chef competing on a reality cooking show similar to Top Chef who falls in forbidden love with a judge.
Love it. All these soft, cozy. Yes, we could lose ourselves in them. Now, I am going to share my screen. For those of you who want to look at the full bracket or play along with the bracket yourself, the graphics are on our Instagram and on our Twitter at Oblong Books. So let's get this screen shared.
I didn't know I could do that.
So what is going to happen is I have the left side of the bracket that we will work all our way through, and then the right side of the bracket that we will work our way through. And then the two winners of each bracket will compete against each other in the finals. This is just so that I don't have to tab back and forth between lots of graphics. So who is ready for round one?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. We're starting with a big one already. Everybody take deep, calming breaths. Round one is forced proximity versus only one bed. So for those of you who don't know, forced proximity is when two characters are forced to be in the same space for an extended time. Only one bed is when, oh no, we have to share a room together and there's only one bed. Quanah, you are up first. Where does your vote lie?
Oh gosh, I hate this because I love them both. And I've written them both. In the same book too. I've written them both in the same book.
They go together.
They go together. I am going to go against the grain, which I think I'm going against the romance grain, and I'm going to say forced proximity. I'm going to fight for the reasoning behind forced proximity over only one bed, because I think forced proximity can probably be sustained longer throughout a story if you do forced proximity, because I have done it both in Real Men Knit and in Not Again by putting people not just in only one bed, but on a road trip in Not Again, and then putting them only in one bed because they were in one camper in a tiny little space in one bed. But in Real Men Knit, so they had forced proximity on a trip together, but in Real Men Knit, putting them in the same house. So I think it can be sustained longer. That's my vote, forced proximity.
Incredible. Ashley, I already know where your vote lies, but I'm going to ask you to officially state it anyway.
Okay, I just want to point out that you can sustain only one bed for a very long time. Stephen King did it in his horror book, okay? Just chain him to the bed.
Yes, you can't chain someone to the bed, but now you're being, but that's also
that was a different kind of romance novel, okay?
Pretty far.
It's fine, there's safe words in this one. I absolutely will go only one bed because of the versatility of only one bed. It can be only one bed snowed in together. It can be only, because like it's never just only one bed, right? It's only one bed and. So it's only one bed and snowed in together, or only one bed and they're on vacation together. Forced proximity is like one thing. It's like, you know, handcuffed together, right? But only one bed means that they are like forced to like share the exact same space for an extended period of time sometimes, which like in the fairy tale East of the Sun, West of the Moon, they had to sleep in the same bed every night. And you know how that fairy tale turned out. There was a polar bear and it worked out and they killed a troll queen. Listen.
I'm not sure where this argument has gone, but I assume you're voting for only one.
I am voting for only one bed because of the versatility of only one bed. There's so much you can do.
Okay, the East of the Sun, West of the Moon, wouldn't he get sent into exile because of the only one bed situation? Because she dripped the candle wax on his shoulder because they were in the same bed, and then he got sent into exile. So I would argue that the only one bed almost doomed them, and that the forced proximity of them being in the troll castle is what saved them ultimately.
Okay, but like, no, what doomed them was the fact that she was too curious and that he didn't tell her the truth. The only one bed was just the igniting factor for her, you know, being like, yeah, I'm gonna go save him. So like, it was the reason she went to go save him, because she dropped like wax tallow on his nightgown, and that was like, that ends up being the way she breaks the spell and like gets him away from the troll queen, because he becomes betrothed to like the troll queen, right? So like I will posit that it is the reason for the happily ever after as well.
Amanda, what is your vote? You are the tiebreaker.
So this is a lot of pressure. And I'm kind of afraid to become Ashley's enemy after what you said about using books as weapons.
I will love you either way.
Stand strong.
I will love you either way. This was an uphill battle for me.
Hey, just please no death by paper cut, especially not with our own books.
Okay, so cardboard's fine though.
That sounds very painful. This all sounds very painful. How are you a romance author? I guess your people are dead. You got like a dead romance, so that makes sense. That makes sense.
They're all ghosts. Yeah, I mean, like it works out.
My favorite quote of the night. Oh, so good.
I'm sorry.
How are you a romance author? Incredible. I assume
y'all are never allowed in my bed, okay?
Amanda, I assume your vote, given your desire not to make Ashley your enemy, was forced proximity. So I have moved it along.
That was my vote, because I think that only one bed is a version of forced proximity. Like, I think that forced proximity is an umbrella, and that the only one bed kind of falls in under that umbrella as a version of forced proximity. So I feel like by choosing forced proximity, I'm kind of also choosing only one bed, which I think is cheating a little bit, but I'm going to go forced proximity because of the versatility.
Very well done. You have a future in politics.
That is true.
Our next round is also a difficult one. It is found family versus childhood friends. Ashley, you start this one.
Me?
You.
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost every single one of my novels has this trope in it. So I am forced, because I have written it so many times, to choose found family, because it is the actual crack in this entire trope. Like, if it doesn't have found family, I usually won't read it. Found family is just like, it's real good. Like, the nitty gritty, it's just a bunch of like misfits coming together. It has the feeling of hook to it, right? You know, the Robin Williams movie, you know. But yeah, absolutely found family, 100%.
One vote for found family. Amanda, your vote.
Time I'm going to get on Ashley's good side so that she doesn't paper cut me to death with cardboard and agree with found family. I just also like that. I guess maybe because I didn't really have a ton of like, you know, guy childhood friends who I had a crush on. So I always liked the idea of like you grow up and you find your friends and then, you know, you fall in love with them and maybe there's only one bed. But,
you're trying really hard.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with found family too.
All right, now found family is moving on, but Quanah, for posterity, what's your vote?
I adore childhood friends, and I've written it. I've written that one too, but I'm gonna go with everybody else and go with found family. I just think that that just gets everyone's heart, even if you do have childhood friends. That can also, I'm going to go with Amanda on this one. It could kind of fall under the umbrella of found family, because I just think, you know, finding, everybody's always looking for their tribe. And when you get found family in a romance, you sort of not only just get a romance between two people, but you add on groups of friends or groups of community. I just think that makes the book that much more special. So I'm going to put found family there too. So found family.
Both of those are personal favorites of mine, so I would have been happy no matter what. Scroll down a little bit. Second chance romances or a romance with unrequited love? Amanda, you're starting us off here.
So I think these are actually two of my least favorite tropes. So I'm kind of choosing from my least favorite here. I think that is the correct amount of negatives. I should probably know that, I'm a writer. But I guess I will go with second chance, because unrequited love, I guess, yeah, I don't like, again, neither one is my favorite, but second chance, I like seeing the growth in the characters and feeling the growth in the characters and seeing like, you know, whatever made them break up before is not a factor anymore so much, or how they've grown and changed and overcome it. So I will go with that, but it will inevitably be second choice to whatever wins in the next bracket, because those are my favorite ones.
Quanah, what about you?
Oh, it's breaking my heart that those are two of your least favorites, and I love them both. I'm just going to be contrary here, because I probably would have chosen second chance because I've written it so many times, but I'm going to say unrequited love just to have something to argue about. Because I think if a romance is good and unrequited love is written the right way, that it's never quite unrequited, that even though there's an unrequited love, the other person who supposedly doesn't know really is secretly in love with that other person. So it is sort of a mutual unrequited love. So if it's done the right way, it's not really unrequited love. So
very true.
I'm leaving it up to the person who is going to be the tiebreaker. So I just wanted to make an argument. So there you have it.
Why?
I like to start as the meme says, I love mess. So that's the reason I chose it. I love mess. I'm a messy person.
No, you threw me into a pile of shit. How dare you?
I'm like that. I'm absolutely like, I mean like that.
You just like stuck out your foot and I just like face planted. I also don't like either of these.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay, now I'm forcing you, going to be forcing you all to read Not Again.
Oh, it's
a second chance romance. So
it is on my list, like hardcore.
I love second chance romances. Unrequited romance is like interesting. I like it. A lot of my favorite romances have that as an element, but second chance has always been one of my favorites.
Don't read
so the
Not Again.
hatred for it I'm getting.
Real Men Knit is actually what I would describe Real Men Knit as unrequited romance, because there's a crush here, a secret crush in Real Men Knit. And that's why I'm saying if and look at me like touting my own work, like woohoo, she's so fancy. That's why I'm saying if it's done properly, and we don't know if it's done properly, but if it's done properly, it's really not as unrequited as you think it is. So.
Right.
Okay. All right. I enjoy second chance romances.
Oh, don't make it up. You don't like it. You said
No. If I read it, I usually enjoy it, but it's not one that I gravitate to. Also, I don't gravitate towards unrequited love because it usually breaks my heart because it usually doesn't like end the way I want it to. But if it did end the way I want it, I wanted it to, I too would choose unrequited love because it'd be like the unrequited to requited pipeline, but it's just one of them just being a dumbass. Like that is the
I was
caveat
wondering
I have.
that. Do you think the one person's kind of a jerk? You know, of course, there can't be a jerk in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the unrequited love, like it has to, like the person has to earn the like requitedness, I guess, like the person who is like the dumbass.
I agree.
Though it breaks my heart, unrequited love moves on.
Good.
You would have taken second chance. You're allowed to vote, aren't you? No, you're not.
No, I am. There's 3 of you. I am the neutral party who will just shame you all when you inevitably don't let my favorite trope win. We're not there yet.
So I guess we know where you were going second.
Nicole, even if you can't vote, are you able to team up with me to bludgeon Quanah and Ashley with books if they vote against us?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm here for that entirely.
That would be a lovely way to
I
die.
honestly would have. I would have if I wasn't just starting mess. I would have chosen second chance in that category.
That's fair. That's fair. You can change your vote.
No, I'm letting the mess. I'm just letting mess fly. Okay.
I love it. Okay, next up, I got a lot of flack from people for not including friends to lovers in the bracket, but I was running around with the tropes in all of your books, and a more common theme was enemies to lovers versus rivals to lovers. I can't remember who I started. I started with Amanda last time. Oh, this will be fun if you two pick different things because I know these are 2 of Amanda's favorites. So Quanah, why don't we start with you?
Oh, I will definitely pick enemies to lovers here. Just because I like mess and I like banter and I like to start I like to start trouble and big fights.
That's
so
fair.
I'm gonna blame it on the Gemini in me. Sometimes I just argue with myself for no reason.
I'm Gemini too. I understand.
That's probably why we're having all this back and forth. That's exactly why we're doing it.
It makes so much sense now.
Now we know what's going on here. Enemies to lovers is probably always my favorite. Even like it's like even when I'm writing, I know that they're 2 lovely people and they're gonna get together, but they've got to fight for whatever. Even if they're fighting over, you know, where they're going for ice cream that day, they're gonna argue about it. It just has to be. So yeah, it's my favorite thing. I love banter. I love back and forth, and enemies to lovers is my thing. Rivals to lovers is a little bit harder for me because I feel like rivals to lovers sort of brings up sort of moral core issues. And I don't know if I get along as well with people who have moral core issues that I don't, because then it might get sort of physical, or you know, I just might want to throat chop you. So I don't know if I have the
see, like that's like the opposite of
so
like,
I'll go with enemies to lovers over rivals to lovers. And
that's like, that's like the opposite of how I understand enemies and rivals to lovers. I think enemies to lovers as like villain and hero, like love, and then rivals is like 2 people on the same side but who are like competing for the same thing, falling in love.
I don't
that's how I view it too.
Something to think about. Now I have to think about the difference between rivals and enemies. Like if we're rivals, I don't know. If we're rivals, I feel like you're going to take something that's mine. Rivals feels like taking something that's mine if you're my rival. And I don't know, we've sort of got to, like, if we're on different teams, then I'm just going to be mad at you. You can't beat me for something. Maybe I'm too competitive. The word rival means you're my rival, and I'm so
hold up a second, guys.
You've got to always fight for me. Enemies to lovers, if we're enemies, I feel like you're ultimately going to fight for me, and the hero has to ultimately fight for me.
Don't you dare.
You can be enemies, but you're going to fight for me.
Sorry.
I assume we
lost her.
I'm sorry. I had to run and catch a palmetto bug, and now I'm back.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
Incredible.
But does that make any sense?
It makes sense. I think the interpretations of enemies to lovers versus rivals to lovers also depends a lot upon the setting in which you are writing.
And the genre, I think, too.
Yeah, like a contemporary enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers, like, could very easily be like, you're my rival because we're both competing for that same thing, and you're my enemy because you go to like a different school, or like you're a professor somewhere else or whatever. But in a fantasy setting, enemies to lovers is like, or like a historical, enemies to lovers is like, I'm gonna kill you. And rivals to lovers is like, we are both competing at the same ballroom.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like enemies to lovers in contemporary would be like something in like spoiler alert, I guess, because they're on opposite sides.
Mhm.
But rivals to lovers would be like the hating game, right? Like, is that how I'm?
Yeah, I can see
Would
that.
That's hard.
I feel like a lot of these books you could pitch them as either like enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers,
Yes,
depending
they're
on how
very
you kind of
similar.
like describe it. And I agree with
Mhm.
Nicole, where I think like it's more clear cut in like historical or fantasy.
Mhm. But in like contemporary, it just really all depends on how you define like enemy and rival. So,
Yeah. So where does your vote lie, Miss Poston?
oh no. It's my turn to be messy, I think. I'm going to snatch up my Gemini crown, and I'm going to say rivals to lovers.
Which means the tiebreaker goes
Yes!
to Amanda.
This is like my dream. I get to pick between my two favorites. Oh boy, this is also pressure.
Dun dun dun.
I would say I pretty much so far have exclusively written what you could either call enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers, in both SADIE and my next one, Best Served Hot, which is like two competing restaurant critics. And
oh
boy, I guess because I feel like they could go either way in contemporary, I'm going to approach it from like a historical or fantasy point of view, and go with enemies to lovers, because I do not like danger in real life. Like, I'm a giant wimp, but like, you know, I love some danger in my fiction when I know it's all going to work out okay.
Incredible. I would have swung the other way, but this is why I'm fascinated by this. Okay. So rather than move on to the next 8, we're going to finish up this bracket here. So we bounce back to the top with forced proximity versus found family. So now we have two very different tropes finally competing with each other. Quanah started that round. So Ash, you get to vote first.
Oh no. Excellent. Well, I did not vote for forced proximity last time, but I did vote for found family. So if I was a person of my word, and I am, I would vote for found family again, which I will.
Excellent. Amanda?
Well, I am not a Gemini. I'm a Pisces, but I'm going to pull on my inner Gemini here and be contrary and go with forced proximity, because I just think it's fun. And I voted for both of these. So it seems like, you know, I voted for 3 out of these 4, so it seems like one of us is winning. I don't want to say which one, but yeah, I'm going to go with forced proximity.
I don't want to say which one.
Who knows? Who's to say? Quanah, you
I
are
am
a
hurt.
tiebreaker.
Oh, I'm finally tiebreaker me. Yay! I am going to. The rom-com in me is going to say the winner is forced proximity.
Boo.
A scandalous loss
Yes.
for found family.
It's hard to say. It was hard to do. I voted for both of those, so
You did.
there are no losers in any of these brackets.
There is
That is
no
true.
losing in romance, because there are so many romance novels.
Nope.
You can always get what you want.
There are none.
Next up, we have Unrequited Love versus Enemies to Lovers. And Amanda, you are up first.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with enemies to lovers. There it is.
I
One of
think
your
this is the same one down the board, right? I think we all have the exact same answer for this one.
I think
Quanah?
so too. I think enemies to lovers is the winner here for sure.
Yeah. Enemies to lovers, absolutely.
Nice and clean. I love a fast round.
Was
Sorry,
this the first
unrequited
unanimous
love.
one?
Our love for unrequited love was in fact unrequited.
Unrequited.
So the
Unrequited
semifinals.
Is that a real thing? Requited it?
Semi-requited it. You just lightly crushed it. It was just like, it was a hard like, not a love.
All right.
It was one hinge date and that's it.
One inch.
So the semifinals for our first bracket, forced proximity versus enemies to lovers. What moves on to the finals?
Ruh-roh.
I believe we are back at the top of the order. It is Quanah who gets to vote first.
Oh, yay. Oh.
You're like, wait, I actually have to vote.
I'm easily going to say enemies to lovers. That's it. I feel strong about this. I feel it gives you more bang for your buck, more words, more word count, more banter, more tension,
More word count.
sexiness, more sexy for your book.
Okay, but like together though, they work best together.
They
Why
do
are
work
they
hand
enemies?
in hand. You can take that
Why-
enemies to lovers, put it with
I
forced
agree.
proximity, and
Yeah.
you got
Yes.
Yes,
bang
like,
up romance right there.
like this semifinals is a romance in and of itself. They're enemies to lovers in forced proximity, going to lovers. Both of them.
I
That's
read
not
it.
an option, unfortunately.
Okay,
That's an
enemies to-
option.
I'm sticking with enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers from Quanah. Ash.
Both.
We'll skip Ash. Amanda.
Well, I'll have to go with enemies to lovers too. I love both and agree. This is a romance novel. I wish we could just merge them, but having to pick one, I got to go with enemies to lovers.
People in the chat, hit us up with your best enemies
I
to
know.
lovers and forced proximity romance recommendations so we can go binge read after this. But in the meantime,
And your
enemies
vote.
to lovers moves to the finals.
The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary is really good. Enemies to lovers.
Yep, that's a staff pick here at Oblong.
Yeah.
Ready to move to the next fresh bracket?
Yeah.
Right. So let's head on down to single elimination round 2. Again, we're starting real strong here. Fake relationship, like fake dating, up against secret romance. I know. And Ash, you are the first to vote this round.
No.
Painful,
Oh
I know.
gosh. No. They're best together. It's like the last one. Secret romance plus fake relationship, they are best together, especially in one of those star-studded celebrity romances. They're fake dating someone and they're secretly dating someone else. They work best together. I'm gonna say fake relationship.
All right. Amanda?
I'm going to go with fake relationship too, because I feel like there you see them I feel like it's the same kind of feelings as forced proximity where you're stuck together and so your feelings start to develop, and I just love watching that happen. And I like secret romance too, but I think that watching the feelings develop in the fake relationship I just like more.
Excellent. And Quanah, we already know fake relationship is moving on, but your vote for posterity.
I love a fake relationship. I do.
I hear
And
butt coming.
There's a lot of them. There's a huge butt there. I'm just gonna say secret romance to put in a huge vote for them. I'm missing them now. I feel like writing one
Yes.
You can just write a romance right quick. I think the tension of a secret romance is really hot.
Yes.
And
See, I
enjoy
fake
that.
dating is great, like fake relationships, because I do love forced proximity as well, but it's about the tension when you love somebody, but you can't show that you love them and you must pretend. So good. But
this it's got me thinking, the second season of Bridgerton, like the secret romance is just so, you get so much tension, and I do love that. So that's why I'm throwing in a vote there, even though we know it already lost that bracket. I do love that.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, but see, the thing is the secret romance is going to win in the next bracket with bodyguard versus billionaire.
I hope.
So,
So next up is bodyguard as the love interest versus billionaire as the love interest. And I promised I wouldn't interfere in any bracket except for this one. Bodyguard is my personal favorite trope of all time, particularly in historical and fantasy settings. So if you want to throw me a bone, I won't argue. Amanda, you are up first.
So I don't love either one of these, but I think that to really make my decision, we need to return to the classic fairy tale, East of the Sun, West of the Moon. It seems like every romance trope can be explained by that story.
it can.
I do
Because
not
really,
know the
like-
story. Now I've got to do my homework.
Oh,
Somebody
it is
should have told me
bad shit.
beforehand.
It is absolutely batshit.
It's so weird. My favorite interpretation is East by Edith Pateau. I think
Yes,
I read
I
it
love-
like 800 times
like
as
8
a
or 9
child.
times.
Yes. Oh
Exactly,
my God.
same. I
There's
love
a
it.
sequel too. I guess we should not be
Yes.
talking about this now, but I read the sequel and it was so exciting.
So good.
But, but anyway, so if we consider like, the evil troll queen is the billionaire, whereas the bodyguard is the main character who has to go save her fairy tale prince from the evil troll queen. I think we have
While
to go with the
pregnant.
bodyguard.
While pregnant, by the way.
She is a badass, yes. So I think I have to go with bodyguard because of that.
Quanah, your vote.
This is hard. I
They're
love
both
a bodyguard,
very
but
different.
I always want my bodyguards to end up rich. I am so sorry.
Hey,
So
It's that good health care, billionaires have good health care.
I know that's the thing. It's like I love because we see what my job is, but I also love money. So
Really, like if you're in the situation where you need a bodyguard and you have a bodyguard, you're probably already pretty rich, right?
this is true.
You
You
really need
probably
his
are
money
already
or her
pretty
money.
rich. But you could also need a bodyguard for other reasons. Maybe you just piss people off. It happens.
But someone's got to pay the bodyguard. Like the money
Somebody's
to
gotta
pay the
pay the
bodyguard has to come
bodyguard.
from somewhere.
That is
I imagine
true.
they're pretty expensive, although I wouldn't know because I
Look
have
at
never
you
had
still
one.
fighting for that bodyguard. I see. What I do. I know we're tired of billionaires. We like regular guys. They're so cute. But I do like my brooding billionaires. I'm going with billionaires. I'm sorry.
billionaires are great in fiction. In real life, get the guillotine, but like in fiction.
Yes, in real life, I've not heard of a billionaire in real life that I would not kick his knees out from under him. Not a one that I would not want to just knock him in the knees, or I don't want to say what I would want to do, but not one. I wouldn't put marbles at the top.
Absolutely
of the stairs.
kneecap them just the
But
entire way through.
but in my fiction, they're all right.
Okay.
Because it's a fantasy. We're
'Cause it's a
allowed.
fantasy. And it's a fantasy where there's great sex and they're nice and I can shop all I want.
Yeah,
And
they
what
have
a great fantasy.
and they have red
what's wrong with
rooms
that?
and they have helicopters and safe words.
It's not the worst. Not the worst.
Not the worst.
Ash, you're our tiebreaker.
Oh gosh. So I definitely grew up on Whitney Houston's The Bodyguard. So I mean, I got it. Listen, like one of the best like romances of all time. Absolutely Bodyguard, 100%.
I can lose now, but I made it through one round, and I'm okay with that.
I do love billionaires, though, I have to say. But
Billionaires usually, well, in my fantasy billionaires, they're usually very protective.
It's
Yeah.
true.
And they end up like fighting for you and stuff like that. So like you don't need a bodyguard.
true, they are the bodyguard / superhero / like,
They're like all rounders.
king.
No,
Yeah.
Quanah, is your dream man Bruce Wayne?
kinda.
We've cracked it. We've cracked the code.
He's Bruce Wayne or he's like John Wick, but really rich. He's like a really rich John Wick.
There you go.
John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick.
There you
So-
go.
Yeah.
Don't mess with his dog.
Do not,
Okay.
do not mess with this dog.
Next up is a bracket that broke the brains of a few of my friends at lunch yesterday. We have hurt comfort up against mutual pining. For those of you who want a specific definition of hurt comfort, because that is one that's always great, Quanah. Hurt comfort is any scenario where one character gets emotionally or physically hurt and the other character in the ship has to comfort them in some way. So this could be physical, as in your bodyguard has taken a bullet for you and you must now tend to their wounds in maybe a sexy bath scene. Or it could be like, oh, this person got like really talked down to at work, and the person they're romantically interested in is about to give them like the best pep talk ever.
And massage at the same time. Yep.
And then up against mutual pining, where two characters both really want to be together, but they don't know how to say it. I believe, Ashley, you once described this to me as idiots in love.
Idiots in love. Yeah.
Who started the last round? I've lost track.
I don't remember.
I think I did.
Amanda did. So Quanah, you get the first vote.
I'm gonna say mutual pining. I like idiots in love. I think they're sweet. It's like, give me a cinnamon roll who's like, oh, she's, I don't know what to say to her, or, she's just, I'll just mess it up. And then a girl who's like, oh, no way, I couldn't never. Yeah, and then suddenly it's forced proximity for the two of them. And, it's only one bed, or she falls, I write a love a klutzy heroine who just happened to trip over something and fall right on his whatever, and bam, it happens. So mutual pining for me.
Mutual pining. Woo. Ashley.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to argue against mutual pining with this one very specific ship. So in Miraculous Ladybug, the animated TV series, there is a foursquare where one character is in love with the superhero version of another character, and the regular version of that superhero character is in love with the superhero version of the other character, and it's just a square, and it's all mutual pining, and nothing ever gets done, and I am not here for it. It is so frustrating. So that's like the only thing I ever think about whenever I see mutual pining. It's just like they will never tell each other. It's just going to be this endless circle of them looking doe-eyed at each other the entire time. Whereas hurt comfort, you have to Google how to stitch someone up. I've done that multiple times. I mean, I know how to stitch people up now because of the hurt comfort trope. So, I mean, hurt comfort saves lives. And also I know how to do a pretty good massage now too because of it. So
suggestive eyebrow waggle.
Wiggle, wiggle. So absolutely hurt comfort. That's the one that I always go to when I go to AO3, is I always click the hurt comfort tag of my favorite ship, and that's it.
All right, Amanda, you are our tiebreaker.
I don't know. I feel like I kind of want to know why Ashley's stitching so many people up.
Look, you know what? When there's a battle going down and then it happens, and then like the love interest comes back wounded, and like the main character has to stitch him up, and then that's like the hurt comfort where it's like, oh, you did a great job, tell me all about it, and like you're just like stitching it up. I'm sorry, that is my crack, just like mothering someone.
There was a good question. Is mutual pining just code for miscommunication? I don't think so. I don't think it is code for miscommunication. I think mutual pining brings up issues of maybe emotional backstory issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what like
for me. It brings up good emotional backstory issues. But I do understand what Ashley is saying. It might. I write. There's a TikTok that I did, and I actually laughed because the person was reviewing my book, and she said she liked my book, but she said, and I actually spit my coffee. She goes, "It is the slowest burn I've ever read," and I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But she said she loved the book because I do like a slow burn, and it can be a slow burn, mutual pining, but I write books that have a lot of internal talking, a lot of emotional backstory. So I think that's what I like about mutual pining, because people are dealing with their own emotional issues, and that might slow the story down for people.
That makes a lot of sense.
So sorry, I just jumped in and was like reading the chat.
You're good. I love that we're reading the chat. I think that well-written mutual pining is not miscommunication, but I think that
Yeah.
poorly written mutual pining can just be miscommunication.
Yes, it can.
You know?
I think you are right.
Yeah.
And that's what. Yes, you're right.
And you only write good mutual pining, so.
tell
Got
it to the people who don't like my work. People who do will
We'll
say,
fight
yes, this
them.
is very well written.
We will fight every single one of them.
I'm sending you $5.
It's like, what, you don't like a slow burn? Turn to the last page then.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Amanda, you are our tiebreaker.
I don't know. I like both of these, and I feel like you guys both made really good arguments, and I could go either way. But I think that when it comes to mutual pining, I just think of like this really specific, like kind of subdivision of mutual pining, like, you know, kind of like you've got malish where they're pining for each other, but they don't know that it's really who they're really pining for. And I love that.
Secret mutual pining.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that. I missed that. That was
Yeah,
good.
I just read a book, The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest, which I don't think is out until next year, but it does this really
I want to
excellently.
read that. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I've got to go with mutual pining, thanks to Christina Forrest. So if any of you know her, Ashley, you can go fight Christina Forrest if you're mad.
I'll go fight her.
I'm putting that book on my list. I just did a retweet. I think there's I think there might be a Goodreads giveaway on it for going on or something, because it just came across my feed that there's a giveaway, and I was like, oh, this cover looks good. And I read the thing. I want to read that book.
And you can always pre-order it from the bookstore.
That's right, and you can pre-order from the bookstore.
It's
the giveaway, but also pre-order, because only a certain amount of people are gonna win.
That's true. And also, if you end up with 2 copies, just give one to a friend.
That's right.
Also,
All right.
usually you can just like pop an ask over to their editor too.
Yeah. You as the author, not you as the general public.
Not the general
Yes.
public.
The general public
Most
don't be
people
emailing
can't do
editors.
that.
Yeah, please, general audience, please don't.
Excuse me. It's just me.
It's just me,
Pardon
random
me.
person.
Random
Big
person.
dong.
All right. Next up of the final in our initial bracket is the problems they have to face. Do you prefer when they face an evil ex, or do you prefer when they have to deal with accidental fame?
No.
Ash, you are up first, I believe.
No.
And I know these are things you enjoy and have written or are writing. So
Oh, accidental fame is in like 2 of my YA novels, and the evil ex is in the Dead Romantics, which is now front side because I flipped the camera. Anyway, I don't. Okay, so like there's something cathartic about. So the caveat with the evil ex is that the evil ex has to get comeuppance at the end. Like that is the one caveat here. He can't just like he or she the person can't just like go on and live their lives, right? There has to be some kind of retribution to the evil ex. But then again, accidental fame is really fun because you like someone like thrown into like the spotlight, and then like there can be like a bunch of like it's just like so much more drama, and it's really high stakes. And I think everyone kind of like at some point in their lives like dreams about accidental fame for like 2 seconds before they're like, oh no, this would be a horror story. I don't Okay, I'm going to go with evil ex just because of the Dead Romantics. Evil ex, absolutely.
Amanda?
I'm going to go with accidental fame because basically of all the reasons Ashley already said. I love like kind of someone being thrown into another world and having to figure out their place in it, and obviously fall in love along the way. So I'm going to go with that.
And our tiebreaker goes to Quanah.
Oh, this is hard. They're both so good. I know accidental fame is so much fun because it's this fantasy world that's lovely, and you get to throw your protagonist into just this lovely space. But evil ex is nice because you can sort of twist those screws, which I love that.
You get to take somebody down.
Yeah, I'm going with evil ex. Yeah,
Evil ex moves on. I think slightly scandalous.
I'm coming out as not a nice person during this hour.
I agree with you on almost everything, so I think you're good. Okay, back up to the top. We have
Thank you for siding with the Gemini.
We have fake
It's
relationships.
like all those things that we try to keep hidden are really coming out. Nicole did a great job thinking of this.
Really?
Having fun. I think the tropes that we gravitate towards most don't necessarily speak to who we are as people, but what we enjoy most in fiction, which is sometimes the farthest thing from us that we can be. Like, I love fantasy books. Like, I love found family and soft fantasy books, but I also love fantasy romances where it's like, we're going to kill a bunch of people now, but we're going to be together doing it. I don't want to kill a bunch of people, but boy, do I want to read about people doing it.
We
Next
like
up.
justice.
We are multifaceted.
That we like that you like justice.
That is true.
There you go.
Top of the order.
Read two villains killing a lot of people in a fantasy world. It's like the Bonnie and Clyde.
It's true. Okay, we've got fake relationship up against the bodyguard trope. And Amanda, you are kicking it off here.
Sorry, Nicole. I've got to go with
Okay.
fake relationship.
I know I won't win. It's okay. Quanah?
I'm going with fake relationship.
I would also go with fake relationship.
Which is about what I expected, but I made it through one round, and I'll take it. To be fair, if Secret Romance didn't win, Bodyguard certainly wasn't going to. Those two go hand in hand.
I mean, fake relationship is just so juicy, though.
It is. It is. Okay. Mutual pining up against taking down the evil ex. Who's up for Quanah? Right? You're up first.
This one is Evil X for the win.
Ooh.
You thought I was gonna go the other way, didn't you?
Ooh.
I don't know. I feel like that's a scandalous choice and I like it. Ash?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with mutual pining.
I'm shocked.
I'm gonna go with Two Idiots in Love.
That's a great title, Two Idiots in Love.
Next book. Amanda, you're our tiebreaker.
I'm also going with Idiots with Love. Idiots in Love.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
Idiots in Love moves on. And then two tropes that go really well together, if we're being honest.
Yes, this is like
We
another
have-
romance book here.
I'm telling you, it's
It
like
really
the
is.
semifinals should just like smush them together. Just mutual pining, fake relationship. They should just go hand in hand. Just combine them like Voltron stuff or Gundams or something. Digivolve them.
Idiots in Love really works.
All right. So fake relationship up against mutual pining for our semifinals. I believe, Ash, you are the first to vote in this round.
Oh, why am I the first one in this one? I will choose Idiots in Love.
All right. One vote for mutual pining. Amanda, what is your vote?
I'm gonna go fake relationship.
No,
They're pining. They're pining in the fake relationship. It's still there. It's still there.
It might not be there, Amanda. It might not be there. It could just be fake dating, and it could be a secret romance with someone else. The bodyguard, probably.
Quanah, you have a very difficult decision ahead of you.
I really do. I was hoping I didn't. I was like, I'm just gonna sit this one out. I am going to pick. Oh boy. Shock of all shock. I am going to pick mutual pining.
Yes!
Shocking. Okay. Idiots in Love makes it to the finals. I'm now going to enter because I didn't have Canva, please.
Canva's going wild right now.
Canva's like, you want to do what now? No.
Canva's like, you gotta move this circle and then you gotta do this.
I don't need to edit the Oblong logo. Thank you. It's perfect as it is.
Oh.
All right.
No.
So in the final,
Mhm.
ignore the fact that it doesn't fit in the box. Nope. that's not how you
Truly,
spell that word.
what does fit in the box? What should fit in the box? You know, fitting in the box is overrated.
The chat has requested that Mutual Pining officially be renamed. So in the finals, we have Enemies to Lovers against Mutual Pining, aka Idiots in Love. Now we have 10 minutes left. So instead of going in any order, I am just going to let you discuss amongst yourselves which ones you think might be better or be the peak trope, at least for this bracket.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so like Idiots in Love is basically friends to lovers. Let's just go ahead and like get that out of the way. It is absolutely
No, it's
friends to
not
lovers.
friends to lovers. Mutual Pining might be friends to lovers.
I mean, usually it is because I mean, I'm also like thinking about this from like an ace perspective. So like, well, a demi ace perspectives. So like Idiots in Love would always be like friends to lovers because they would have to be friends before they became lovers. So like it could encompass both. So they're just like two polar opposites of each other. Whereas like one comes from like one side of like the trope field, and then Enemies to Lovers is like the other side. Am I making sense? Or am I just
like they have such...
or they could just be cordial. They might not be friends. They could be friendly, or they could be, you know, in the same circle or not really. I'm thinking like
it could
like
be
Notting
both.
Hill.
Hmm.
They, you know, they were idiots in love kind of in a way. But they weren't friends. This is hard.
I would argue that I don't think they're mutually exclusive. For instance, let's go classics. Let's look at Darcy and Elizabeth. That's an enemies to lover story, and also Mutual Pining. So, yeah, they can go together.
They can go together. They absolutely can go together.
I just feel like the energy is, I feel like it depends on what energy you want. I feel like, you know, Idiots in Love is kind of like, you know, like pastel, like happy, like, you know, nice energy, and Enemies to Lovers is, you know, like red and kind of dangerous and, you know, more of like a sharp energy to it. I feel like I should start talking about like auras and crystals now or something. But
the vibes are different. It's like Enemies to Lovers is like one vibe, and then Idiots in Love is another vibe.
But you can, but no, Nicole is right. You can have Enemies to Lovers and have Idiots in Love, and it could be lighter, and it could be, and it can still be right, you know, on the opposite spectrum. And you can have a light rom-com, and they can be Enemies to Lovers and not.
It could be peak Mutual Pining because your enemy could never love you.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to what you personally would be more excited for in the story. Are you more excited that they're enemies, or are you more excited that they're stupid? It's not stupid to do Mutual Pining. It's one of the best tropes.
Yeah, I probably am still gonna, yeah, see, you're selling it now, because now I'm kind of going with Mutual Pining.
I don't know, I love both. I see the benefits of both, but I feel like if I'm picking up a new book and, you know, it's got Enemies to Lovers on the back, or, you know, Mutual Pining / Idiots in Love on the back, I would pick up the Enemies to Lovers first, I think. I would read both eventually, but I think first I would read the Enemies to Lovers one.
The chat is divisive.
I would read Mutual Pining.
I'm more excited that they're stupid. But if it's Enemies to Lovers, and you go into it knowing that they're on opposite sides, you know by chapter 2 that they're also stupid, because they're fighting and they're like, I can't stand her, but and I can't stand him, and as the reader you're like, you know, you love him. You're done.
I can't stand him, but I'm horny for him.
Yeah. It's like, no, you love him a lot. You want him. It's this and that, you know?
I think, Quanah, maybe the argument you're making is Enemies to Lovers, Mutual Pining of some sort is necessary for the trope, but Mutual Pining doesn't have to be Enemies to Lovers.
Yes.
Yeah. So Enemies to Lovers includes Mutual Pining and being enemies. Mutual Pining can be Enemies to Lovers.
Can be a sweet, can be, you know, Mutual Pining can be, Enemies to Lovers is part of Mutual Pining, but Mutual Pining, yes, you're right, doesn't have to be Enemies to Lovers. It can be fake dating. It could be any other kind of romance can have mutual pining. Probably most romances have mutual pining.
Sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I mean,
so that would make mutual pining the ultimate winner. If most have it.
I would only choose mutual pining if I knew for a fact it wasn't the miscommunication trope.
That's true. Enemies to lovers always slaps, whereas mutual pining separately might hit or miss.
Should the top trope really need a qualifier?
Enemies to lovers possibly have the miscommunication trope too?
Yeah. I mean, it could, but it's more likely in the mutual pining because like there is some miscommunication usually within that pining for it to be like mutual, but not like they don't come together right away, right?
I think we could have a fight when it comes to the miscommunication trope though, because I think that the miscommunication isn't really a trope. I think miscommunication is an excuse for a not well-written romance that people will throw out to any trope, to any romance that they don't like.
Okay.
I think
love how I just threw that out there. You could have miscommunication in any sort of romance. You could have it in a secret baby and a this and a that and anything. And people will just say, oh, it's just a miscommunication. They should have just said that, and they should have just said that, and then it would have been over. But I will also argue that there is a small level of miscommunication in any romance, because if they would just communicate and say what they feel, the romance will be over by chapter 3, and then you don't have a book.
See, that's like that's
Did
not
I just
what
blow your mind a little bit?
No,
maybe.
that's not what I think about when I think of the miscommunication trope. What I think of is I always think of like when you've got mail, like that is miscommunication because they think they are like they assume that the person on the other side is someone else, and then like in real life they hate each other, they're enemies. So like that's what I think of when I think of like the miscommunication trope. It's not like it's that they themselves assume something different of the other person, and there is like really no way to like rectify that until like the plot progresses. That's what I mean by the miscommunication.
Okay, I think that's a different thing. I think, and I think I would call that a sort of secret identity.
Also true. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. The chat is very much team, I think, idiots in love, because they seem to really like slow burn torture. Shout out to my coworker Fred, who says, I want a book to make me wait and suffer. But I'm going to ask for your final votes, and I'm just going to go down by who I see on my screen. Quanah, you are first.
I'm going to go with the idiots in love.
Ash.
I'm going to go with enemies to lovers.
And Amanda, our tiebreaker.
I will die on enemies to lovers. Sorry, Fred.
I lost.
Sorry, Quanah.
It's all right. It's okay. Like I said, there's no losers. I like to fight anyway, so that's cool.
It's true. There are no losers.
No losers. No tropes or bad tropes.
It's true.
And these debates were so much fun. Thank you for debating with me with all of these.
All right. So we are all set here. And our winner, of course, enemies to lovers. But the real winner is us. Yay. Because we get to read romance novels.
That's right.
Remember to head to oblongbooks.com to buy all of these lovely folks' romance novels. You might find some of the tropes we've talked about today in them.
You probably will.
Probably. In the meantime, thank you everybody for participating in the chat. I loved seeing everybody argue about their favorite tropes. If you want to rewatch this or send it with your friends, it will be up on YouTube in the next day or two. And in the meantime, happy reading, everybody. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
Nicole.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.